Can you imagine if you were looking to buy a house over the last 100 years? You would have to call somebody, go meet them at an office, and pray that they're looking out for you and they're not going to be looking out for their own interest. Not only just buying a house, but anything. Honestly, I think it's beautiful that home buyers and really anything have taken their existence and just taken ownership of it with the idea that we can educate ourselves in absolutely anything, especially something as complicated as buying a house. I'm not a master investor. I have two houses. I've bought many houses, okay? I have two houses. One is my house, and one it's a house that I bought from my wife's grandmother and her mother to live in. And this is how amazing an investor I am. The mortgage is like $900 and we charge our grandma $300. That's how much of a freaking amazing investor genius I am. Okay, so I want to make sure to disclose that before I talk. I would like for you to let go of some things before you listen to me talk, okay? Let's acknowledge a few things in the room. I am a real estate agent. I have made a living selling houses and having people buy houses, okay? But I need you to get rid of that right now. And I need you to just listen to me, not as a real estate agent, not as a YouTube content creator, but someone who has seen a few things and someone who just, I don't know, just get rid of that idea for now and just listen to me one-on-one, okay? I need you to get rid of any previous bias you have, not only me, but just housing market, real estate fanatics, and just listen to my words. And don't take it as law, but have it be considered into the pile when you're making your decision about buying a home in the next 5 years, 10 years, etc. Housing market videos. Who are they for and what are they for? A lot of them, and no specific names or channels, are making these data-oriented videos because they think they figured out the patterns of the market and they think they know for sure when the crash is happening, or they like to basically give alerts of like triggers of like, oh, this means the crash is happening soon. If you do some deep dives into what these people do for a living, the big channels, the medium channels, the small channels, almost all of them are in some service to investors. They consult investors on the best places to buy real estate. They have courses, they have classes for real estate investing, how to get started, wholesaling, whatever the case may be. A lot of them have an interest in the investing space. There is an underlying fear that everyone has with buying a house. And that fear, I believe, is based on, I don't want to get screwed. We all have had a family member, we've had a friend. Trying to shoot a freaking amazing video right now. Sorry, I got an email. We've all had somebody who has been screwed royally by the last housing market crash in 2006, 2007. We saw values plummet, and I'm not going to be another channel that just shows data. You guys can look up the data yourself. It was pretty horrendous. And the worst part about it all, the amount of lives that were affected probably can't even be tracked. When something traumatic happens in our lives, it makes an imprint and it changes the way who we are. And I think this trauma affected us not only individually because something might have happened in your family. Maybe you were younger when you saw your family be affected. Maybe you were affected personally because you had a house. This trauma has affected us in ways that we cannot even explain. It also has affected the housing market. It has affected our confidence in the economy, all kinds of things. These videos really scratch that itch for you guys, where it's like you're trying not to get taken advantage of. So having this knowledge will help prevent that from happening. Here's the thing. Your cousin that bought a house in 2015 and sold it for 2020 and made $300,000, $200,000 is not an investor. He or she just got stupid lucky. The problem is anybody who bought a house, which by the way, out of necessity, because I saw people in 2014, 15, terrified out of their mind about buying a house. They're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? This is an unstable market. What am I doing? So they were buying out of necessity. They were buying a house and they were getting under contract, just rolling the dice and hoping it works. So if this was you and you decided to, move out, 4 or 5 years later, for whatever reason, to move up or because you had to leave your state, whatever the reason is, you made a lot of money. And what happens is when somebody makes this much money, we automatically think, well, holy shit, I'm a genius. I'm the next Warren Buffett. Dude, my investment strategies are godly. I invested this much money. I took a risk because I'm a baller and I made this much money. Dude, I'm the investment god. And then they spread the word and you start hearing about these other people. So are they investors? Or did they just get incredibly lucky? They didn't buy those houses with the idea that they were going to get a bunch of equity. They just kind of fell into it. Guys, I bought $500 of Dogecoin just for a freaking meme before it exploded. I ended up making like 7K. I think I ended up buying like another 1,000 like when it was starting to go up a bit. That's why, if you want to do the numbers. Does that make me an amazing investor genius? No. I just got incredibly lucky. Let me break this to you. And once again, this is my personal opinion. This idea that's been fed to you that buying a house is an investment is simply not true. So I'm editing the video and I feel like I want to delve some thoughts about this. So what makes an investment an investment? I mean, if I would have held on to that Charizard card I had as a kid, it would have been an amazing investment, right? Because if you hold things and they gain in value without a guarantee, it's still considered an investment. But when it comes to real estate, at least in my personal opinion, having a house and owning a house is like having a very conservative lottery, right? You know, as long as everything goes well, you're probably going to make us a good amount of money on it. I don't really consider it that much of an investment. More, every time you buy a lottery ticket, is it really an investment? I think a house becomes an investment when you decide to move on to another house or you decide to move out of that house and not sell it. And then at that point in time, you have to turn it into a rental, into a long-term, short-term rental, or whatever you have in mind. And then, in my opinion, then it becomes an investment property. Literally, that's why there's two types of loans in real estate. There's investment loans, and then there's primary occupant loans, right? So, in their definition, an investment property is one that's non-owner occupied. So that's why, to me, it becomes an investment at that point. So this idea that your primary occupant home is an investment is, in my opinion, an idea that has been sold amazingly as a great marketing strategy for realtors and lenders, because it is in our best interest that you buy a house every 3 or 4 years, because we make money. We make a good chunk of commission every time you sell or buy. But when honestly, if we really look inside and you really think, do I need this house? Most of the time you could be fine. And when you look back in time, I mean, people have owned a house their whole entire life and they pass it on to the next generation. But for some reason over this last 1 or 2 decades, we've got into our head that we have to sell every 2 or 3 years. And guess what? I'm guilty of that too. I probably told clients that too. But hey, we're here being honest. I'm an ass. I'm learning. We're growing. So let's get back to it. You're buying a house. You're taking on a monthly payment. You're putting an initial down payment. And you're hoping and praying things out of your control that house continues to go up in equity. So when you want to sell it down the road, you will hopefully get some money out of it. Would you buy a stock and check it every day, every hour to make sure it was going up and down, up and down? Oh my gosh. No, you would never do that. You would go absolutely insane. So the same people that buy a house and then every freaking month check the values and make sure it's going up and up and up and down, you're doing the same thing to yourself. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on that. Javier, I made a lot of money on this. Javier, I wouldn't have done this. Guys, I've benefited from this. Not only as a realtor, but my wife and I bought our first house in 2013, 14. We sold it 2-3 years later. We kept going up and up and up, and now we're in an amazing area. We used real estate as a vehicle to carry us forward. But it's also worth being said, it was an amazing time in a recovering market. And we did not know that the market was going to continue to go up. We were buying our house and thinking, well, we're not going to move. And then we were like, oh, crap. Shoot, we need another room now. Or actually, for the second house, was like, we need air conditioning for our son, our baby boy that was just born. I know our first house didn't have AC. Let's move on. Second house, oh my gosh, we just had another kid. And we want a good school district. Let's move out and go to another one, right? There was a need that came in place. And because the opportunity was there, we took it. Did we plan it from the beginning as amazing investors? No. But we created something and an opportunity came out of it. If you just follow this thought experiment with me and you get rid of the idea that buying a house is an investment, let's talk about the purpose of these videos. I think these videos are super valuable for people who are looking to buy an investment. You're looking for a second home, a third home. Maybe you're looking into buying multiple properties and you have $5 million you want to put into different areas. Yeah, those videos are amazing for you. You want to pick out which areas are the best areas to hold on to your money. 100%. Watch those videos. Go ham. Those videos are for you. Shoot, even reach out to one of their classes or courses or whatever, and it'll help you. It's 100% for you. But the problem with these videos is that, imagine like we're in the medieval time. Of course, I'm a very handsome squire, and you guys are also very beautiful and handsome. But let's just say there's a town square, right? And there's somebody that gets on a soapbox, gets out one of those things, and go, "Hear ye, hear ye, investors of the kingdom and owners of people trying to make money off the kingdom and castles and buildings." So, of course, they naturally go and watch that, and they'll go listen to him. But they're saying it to the general crowd. They're just, "Hear ye, hear ye," and they go on about, "Data shows that this kingdom is not increasing as much in value. There is surely a coin crash coming in this kingdom." Of course, all the investors are like, "Oh, yes, of course, we must keep this in mind. Don't invest in this kingdom." But everybody else is there, and they're all listening. And they're thinking, holy shit, well, he's saying this, so it must apply to us too. For people who are looking to make money off of real estate, this is definitely concerning news and things to look out for. But for those who are just trying to own a piece of property to call their own and can afford the monthly payment, are now taking this to heart. They're saying, well, maybe we should not buy that farm that we were looking to buy. I don't know. I'll get out of the medieval mindset. We should not buy that house that we've been thinking about. So YouTube is a soapbox for these people to hop on and just speak to the general public. And it's not their fault. The algorithm does its thing, right? We all hear these videos and we internalize it thinking, oh, this video must be for me. Stay in this thought process with me. Then you can go back and you can, go comment something below. If we can say, based on the services these channels provide, primarily to investors, based on this, their intention is to serve investors or people to try to, or making look money on real estate. Therefore, the message is for the majority of those people. Okay. And these investors, they're buying second or third houses and they're not just staying empty. What are they doing with those houses? They're renting them. Okay. So these videos are being made to serve them. And guess what? All the big channels, they're all talking about all these investments they're buying. They're talking, oh yeah, I just bought another house around. Oh yeah, I just bought a house here. Oh yeah, this is the state you need to buy in. Oh, this, they're buying houses still. They're still doing their thing. They're still, doing investments. So you hear this message and it scares you into stopping your home goals and like, you know what? We're not going to buy. We're just going to hold off and wait. We're not all going to live with mommy and daddy. So we're going to have to move out. And guess what? You got two options. You can own where you live, or you can rent where you live. And if you decide to rent where you live, you decide to rent where you live, someone has to own that property. Guess who owns that property? The same investors that are benefiting from the information that scared you in the first place. Just think about that for a bit. The videos that are serving investors, that so they can figure out which places to buy and where they can make the most money, or what time to buy so they can make the most money, is scaring you from actually going and getting your own house. So you can go rent and make the same people that's benefiting that video more money. Start benefiting from that video. So now let's take ourselves out of this thought experiment. Clearly, now that we're out of it, I can address some things. Yes, I don't think it's malicious intent. I don't think these people have the purpose of doing this. And of course, you can come up with the argument that, yes, Javier, buying a house is an investment. I don't care what you say. You're putting money in it every month, and it is an investment because you will make your money back. Okay, we can consider those things as the variables in this situation. Okay, the most heartbreaking thing for me is hearing people who might have the ability to do it if they just really put themselves to it. They could save a little more. They can get it done. I know there's some markets that are very difficult to buy in right now, and my heart goes out to you guys for sure. So of course, if you're in that situation, especially my Californians, that's just a tough situation to be in. But everybody else, my heart breaks for the people who have the opportunity to buy, or they had the opportunity to buy, but because they've been waiting for so long, they let it slip by their finger, and now they're just praying for a housing market crash to happen so they can get back to the price where they could have bought before if they had just pulled the trigger prior. Let me give you the things that you need to absolutely have before you even consider buying. Because I'm not an idiot, and I'm not telling you just to buy if you can. No, you want to have some things in a row, and you might not like it. but this is the truth. If you're going to buy a house, you're going to have to get financing. To get financing, you're going to need a down payment. And to have a down payment, you need to have savings. And hopefully, you just don't have savings for a house, but you also have a separate emergency savings. You need to make sure to have emergency savings, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. But not only does these funds have to have a down payment like a housing fund, but it also needs to have closing costs. So you need to have funds for a house, okay? So once again, going back up, if you're going to own a home, you're going to have to get financing, which means you have to get down payment, you have to have funds, you have to have decent credit score, you have to have stable work history. And the second most important thing is you need to have the actual urgency to move. If you're fine where you're living right now, you can afford your monthly payment while you're saving, do your thing. Keep doing your thing. But for those people, and I know some of you guys are in the same situation because I've been there, who are maybe living with some in-laws right now, and they have been for the last year. And as much as we love our in-laws, it's been about a year, and you're about to break. Or maybe you have an apartment that you've been renting now, and you and your wonderful spouse have had 2, 3, maybe a few more kids than you expected. And now, holy crap, every time you wake up, you step on the Lego, and your feet cannot take it no more. There has to be an immediate need. You have to have the need to do it. If you're able to suck it up a little longer so you can save up and do those things I told you before you need to do, credit, stable history, having a savings and whatnot, then sacrifice until you can get to that point. But don't freaking let anybody hold you back from having the opportunity to own a home in this country. If you can afford where you live, you have a fixed interest rate, the monthly payment works with your budget, not just qualifying for it. It's still under, whatever rule you want to follow, 25% of your net, 25% of your whatever. As long as you can afford your monthly payment and you're not house broke and you own that property, who cares if you lose half of your value next year? I'm not saying that's going to happen. And once again, another thought experiment. But let's say you have a great monthly payment, you can afford it, but you lose half of your value overnight or the next year. Who cares? You're not Warren Buffett. You're not going to be selling your house every 2 years. Those times are gone. You're buying a house because you're going to have it for the long period of time. Stop trying to time the market to make a bunch of money. Buy your house, own where you live, have a piece of property that is to your name so you have something to leave for your children when you or your family or friends when you pass away. Or keep renting and be worried about what's going to happen to the market while these guys are making money off your ad revenue and serving investors. You deserve to own a home. You deserve to own a home. Don't let anybody take that away from you.